Hello, everyone. How are you all doing?
Hi.
It's been one
Long
week.
time. See.
Oh, it's been so long. Do. So let's just wait for a few people to join, and then we'll kick off. If anyone's got any ideas on what to discuss today, you can put it in the chat. I'm going to ignore it, and we can take it from there. Wonderful. So give me a few minutes, and then we're going to kick off. Let's just wait for some people to join.
Jess, are you there?
Mehmet, what's up?
What's up? What's up? They say I'm not very good.
Yeah, long time no see.
Yeah, I've been away for a little while still, yeah. Maybe. But Jess, I was gonna ask, did you see my message?
Getting to your message, Mehmet.
That's cool.
Oh, wait. Actually, yes, I did. And I was going to fix the workflow for you. So I'm going to do it
All
now.
right, then. Yeah, because I was gonna put the voicemail in, but then I must have not saved it, you know.
Okay. I will.
Thank you.
So happy you guys don't socialize. So nice. Wonderful. Alonso, mashallah, assalamu alaikum.
Inshallah.
How you doing?
Great. Yeah. I wanted to. Yes, last week I booked 6 meetings with only one show up. Ethan joined that call. Unfortunately, it couldn't be closed, but I'm gonna test a new first message for SMS. Can you like help me create it?
Put it in the
Can
chat.
I share my screen?
Put it in the chat. I'll fix it up.
Yeah.
Davide, I'm disappointed to see you. Just I don't know why you came in. I felt disappointed. I was happy when I joined. I don't need to join, but it's all good.
What should I do instead?
Renounce your Italian citizenship.
All right.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, does anyone have a sales call to review? I'm going to go over a little bit of theory that we're going to discuss, and then I'm going to do a sales call review. Does anyone have any questions as I prepare?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, what happened to the school community?
Oh, it died.
It died. Why did it die?
Like I can give you 1,000 lists. People were sending nudes to each other. It was very inappropriate. And there was some strange. Yeah, it was very strange.
So where's all the resources?
The resources, Jess, can you provide access to Mehmet? Yeah, apparently, like 2 of the guys were sending each other nudes, and one guy sent it to the wrong guy.
Well, actually,
Yeah, it was a very, very awkward conversation.
what the fuck?
Yeah. So we killed it, and since this is basically 1-to-1, we're just doing that, and it puts more pressure on us to make it 1-to-1 to you guys.
Okay.
Mr. Borg,
Yeah,
good
so
to see
Ishmael, I was watching the Cartoon Fox videos. So he basically puts like a hook, like, yeah, I can help you book 3 to 10 new extra jobs for each month, and you only pay per show up. So that's like the hook. What hook can I use here?
Who the fuck told you to put this as outreach? I've just read it.
Sorry.
Who gave you this copy?
No, it's just one, like, Cartoon Fox. I watched one of his examples. No, but they're like missing the hook, like what I told you, like, yeah, and you only pay per show, and I don't charge anything up front. Like that, those are the examples that he puts. What hook of can I put there?
Yeah, I'll fix it up. I'll fix it up. I've got an idea in my head. Let me just think. Wonderful. Oh, Dennis, how's your holiday?
Thanks for asking.
Very good. So let's bust out Myro. Wonderful. Now we're just gonna go over some fundamentals on Myro, and then we'll go into some of the laws. I'm gonna ask you guys questions. This will be slightly interactive. We'll take it from there. So you guys can see this? Wonderful. Now we're gonna slightly go over mindset, but not really mindset. I need you guys to question to yourselves, what the fuck are you doing with your lives? Right? Now, I'll ask you a question. Right? Who here thinks that they could join my team and they would last? Any team in anything that I do? Who here thinks that they can join and last in that team? Past 1 month. Jamie?
Yeah,
You believe you'd last, yes?
yeah.
Yes. How many people on this call would last on the team?
What do you mean by last? Be able to handle the work?
Just handle all of it.
In this
I
call,
don't know what you're on about.
Let me
Davide, did
see.
you put your hand up?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
My guess is 2 people
And which people are there?
that would handle the workload.
That wouldn't die.
Wait, but okay, hold on. Before I say who the people are, just explain exactly what you mean. Do you mean
So no, as in they are in Dubai with me, working with me.
okay, I think JT might last. He seems to have a good workload. And
Yeah.
then potentially Dennis.
Really? Yeah, you see, Davide, your name wasn't picked. Jaume, your name wasn't picked either. Very interesting how that happens, right? Now, let me explain when I was, let me put it in context when I was you guys, right? Now, granted, I didn't have a version of me now. Yes, I was speaking to somebody about this program and how I can't even imagine where I'd be if I had someone like me. Not to like, compliment myself because I don't really ever do that. But yeah. So way back when I had email, LinkedIn, IG, cold calling. All of this was turned on. I had up to, let's say 20 accounts, right? Active. I had about 5 LinkedIn accounts active. Instagram, I had 1, right? And cold calling, it was just me, right? All of this being religiously managed, non-stop, right? But this was me not knowing how to do anything. This is me just figuring it out on like non-stop, right? On repeat. There was a time that I had an issue and I was homeless, right? Lucky for me, I had a job at the time in an office. So I slept in that office for just over a month before they figured it out, right? That office had those things to wipe your ass, the water things. Yes. That was my shower for a month, right? I would be working all the way till the evening, right? All the way just until I pass out, wake up before anyone gets into the office, rinse and repeat, right? Now, why do I say this here? There's a good chance people here can outwork me. Not now, but like compared to the old version of me, right? But then you have to think, what are you doing versus what could you be doing, right? So I'm going to pick one random person in the crowd. Jaume, you're quite confident. Jaume, what outreach methods are you doing?
cold calling.
So there is a version of Jaume that is doing cold calling. We're looking at him now. He's very confident. He thinks he can last in my team, right? And then there's a version of him that's doing all of these outreach methods. Jaume, which one is more likely to succeed?
The one that's doing everything.
So what
Well,
the fuck?
actually, there is SMS missing.
Okay. I never did SMS because I thought honestly it was too easy. I didn't like it. I was not attracted to it because it was so easy.
Right.
It was such an easy way to book appointments. I did not do it. Right.
Oh.
So out of principle, I never liked SMS. Right. I thought what a lazy entrepreneurial way to do it. Granted, it's what you should do, but my ego was involved. Right. So Jean, are you doing SMS right now?
Well, I was getting my verification, but yeah, I will do.
Okay, cool. Now, how much more successful would you be if you are burning yourself away doing all of this? Yeah. Now, Jame, let's be honest. Can you do LinkedIn while cold calling?
Yeah, I guess.
Email may be a bit more complicated. Instagram.
Yeah, also.
So what are you doing? Why aren't you doing it?
Well, I was told during the outreach methods that for real estate it didn't make much sense the other ones.
Real estate. I have closed via email, LinkedIn, Instagram, cold calling. Yeah. I didn't close on SMS because I don't like SMS. Right. There was another thing that, yeah, and Facebook. And there was another method that I used as well to close on. I don't remember what it was. Right. Now, an example. Now, this was me figuring out myself. We don't recommend this to you guys because it's a lot of work. Right. And it's not as popular on LinkedIn. Right. There was a thing on LinkedIn where people would host their own events to attract other people into marketing services. Right. So I'd be there searching people who are hosting their own events and inviting agents or whatever niche it's going to be. Right. And then I would target their prospects, start conversations in order to get a higher conversion rate based on who I'm speaking to. Now, next aspect, Jame. PPG, right? How many hours are you doing of PPG weekly? Just how many hours is Jame doing?
What is PPG?
Powerpuff Girls
Ah, per day or per week?
a week.
Per week, usually 4.
Just now, my question is, why aren't you doing 8?
Because I got scheduled 4.
And you didn't ask for more?
I don't know.
I've said previously on these calls, if I was you, I would be rinsing their time. Like rinsing their time for shit. Right? But now, this is just to develop all the skills. Granted, like until you need it, it's there. And then we have the next aspect, which is okay. Right? Tell me this, Jame, how many of your own calls have you sat down back to back and reviewed as a percentage?
0.
There's a version of you that has reviewed every single call.
No, because I had 0.
Uh.
I booked a couple, but it was no show. So
In real estate.
yeah.
How?
What? How?
Okay, let's schedule a call tomorrow and I'll fix it. Right?
Okay.
But now, guys, you're reviewing your own sales calls. Granted, we're just building a collage of sales calls being reviewed. It makes all the difference, right? And you have to understand one thing, and I've said this before, right? There is a metric. Let's make it red. Here. Yeah. Right? Now, the bulk, let's say at the top, we have pain, right? Pain, and we have age over here. The more pain you take, right? Okay, let's talk no pain. The average person. We all agree that the average person that you guys know, they don't work hard. Like they work at a normal standard and they're balanced, right? Where they have time with family, they have social environments, they drink, they do drugs, right? The bulk of those people, their pain levels through the ages of 20 are relatively low, right? And then as soon as the medical bills go up, right? Pain goes through the roof. Yeah, these are the people that pension funds were made for. Now, in entrepreneurship, we're trained. The more pain we take over here, the less pain we go here. Right? Like that's literally how it works. And your problems, they change. Right? I hate this fucking line. Okay, cool. The more pain we take here, the less we take on the future. Now, I will be very honest, right? at this point here, or as it goes down, you still have problems, but your problems are very, very good problems. Right? Now, I don't want to tell you my problems because that's not necessary to say, but I guarantee you, you guys would love the problems that I have. Right? And you need to get yourselves in that position. But in order to do that, you need to maximize how much pain you take right now. Now, that pain can be in the process of difficult conversations with loved ones, losing out on time, right? Burning out, overworking, right? I've definitely sped up my balding, like me going bald. 100% I've sped that up. My nutrition, just when I'm working a lot, how is my nutrition?
Oh, so terrible.
How often do I
Very
eat?
Like never.
Yeah, but never means like I won't eat for 2 days. I may have like Haribo's like just in order to sustain my sugar levels throughout this period. Now, I don't recommend anyone does this, right? The reason that I do it is nice and simple. When you are starving, your body goes into fight or flight. And then you just say alert, you say active, very quick responses, right? And then I don't have the same problem Mehmet has, where like I have to carry more weight around me because that's just an unnecessary usage of energy that can go to my brain, right? But then just looking, where can I suffer in order to succeed, right? And as you guys will develop in business, you'll see there's connections with things. So I'm going to tell you one that I've got, doesn't really apply to you guys, but it may apply. So, and you guys have to look out for this in your own journeys. And you learn through your own experiences, right? Now, who here has ever seen or has ever come across a deal that they thought, wow, if this random deal where I have no experience in this industry closes and I'm able to connect people, I'm going to make millions. Has anyone here ever been closely involved to anything like that? An example would be selling COVID masks.
What was the question?
Mehmet, at the time of COVID, did you try to sell any masks or connect people between other people to sell masks?
Not masks. I sold other stuff.
Drugs, we know. Another example would be getting in on a deal or a business plan where you're doing all the maths and the maths is looking really good. And if you guys do these KPIs and those KPIs, you're going to become a millionaire within 3 months, right? I was consulting for a business. And this business, the two business partners, they wanted me to, I was introduced to them and they wanted my opinions, right? As soon as I met them and understood that they were in the Forex space, I was like, yeah, I'm not charging you shit. I'll give you my opinions, but I'm not educated in this space. So I'm just going to give you my opinions, right? I won't take your money for it because I'm not an expert in that space, right? Now, these dumbasses, right, said to me, we're starting this business and in 1 or 2 months, right, we should make a few million. 0 to 1 million in 2 months. Then I had one question that I needed to figure out. Who are they now? Right? If they had made millions in the past, the likelihood of them making millions again, like that will happen. Right? But now, if they don't have experience, right? The fact that they're this big and they're trying to go this big in 2 months, right? The likelihood is it's nil. It's not going to happen. And the way that I explain it is it's a universal balance. It's too much of a shift to their universe, right? So it's not going to happen. The likelihood of it happening is so low that it's redundant. Might as well go do a lottery ticket. So the way that you look at this is when I'm going into a project, right? Based on my circumstances, is it realistic for me to do so? Right? Now, how do I apply this? Right? Let's say I'm okay, let's say Mr. Bork. Let's say this is Mr. Bork. Let's say this is me. I apologize, Mr. Bork. I make myself a bit bigger than you. Right? Now, Mr. Bork wants to work for me. And he's gonna be in a role where I know I slap him in this role. He's gonna make me what 30, 40,000 a month. I can comfortably put Bork in a role, it'll make me that money. right? Now, James, is it fair that if you're making me 30 to 40,000, that you get anywhere between 7 to 12,000?
I'd say so, yeah.
Wonderful. The only thing that will decide that for me is how much you've made in the past, right? So now let's imagine you've made that money. I have no issues giving you that money. I will encourage you to go a bit further, right? But if you've only ever received 1,000 to 1,500, I will not offer you 7,000. But now, why is that?
Because I haven't done it before. You don't see that I can do it now.
No. I know you can do it because I'll be in charge. All right, Tamo, why wouldn't I do it?
Because you'll be satisfied with it either way.
Huh? Wait,
I said
Tamo,
you'll be satisfied with it. If he's not made that much money, you'll be satisfied with it either way.
you guys are definitely in a different weight class. Mehmet, your name is not Tamo, and he's blonde.
No, I thought you were just asking.
No, Tamo. But the answer is
Yeah.
correct. Tamo, try.
Well, why change a running system, right?
No, nothing
If
to do.
it's running and I'm changing numbers.
Nothing, right? It's now granted, it's how I view it. This is how I'm able to explain the logic, right? It would be too much of a disruption to his universal balance,
Oh, right.
right? Now, what do I mean by that? If Mr. Borg is making 1K here, right? We have his family, his friends, his relationship, and then how he sees himself, right? If I change, or let's imagine it's 1.5. If I change that straight away to a 7K, is that going to change the dynamics here? And here,
Yeah.
and here, and there. It's too much of a shift, and it will fuck his brain, right?
Yeah.
Like it will generally do. Now, James, it applies to anybody, right?
Yeah.
It would have too much of a shift where work that he would be able to succeed at 1K, right? If I said 1 or 2K, he would have done it perfectly fine. But because I've said 7, it's too much stress on, oh, if this happens, then this happens, then this happens, and then this, and then he's thinking about what people are going to think about him, and this and that, so on and so forth. Right? There's a high chance that you'd fuck around with the money, start saving, or whatever you're going to do. It's too much of a universal shift, so I wouldn't do it. Right? But then we have to look at how this applies to ourselves. Right? There's been deals where I could have gone in and made quick money. Right? But I looked at my current circumstances. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for me to go here to there in whatever hypothetical period these people are talking about. Now, granted, anyone who's ever told me that, turns out they got scammed, right? Or it didn't fall through or something fucked up, right? But I knew not to go into it because it didn't make sense. Based on where I'm at and that type of jump, it's not regular. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But then now you guys have to look at this when it comes to paying, right? Because this is one universal thing and this is another universal thing, right? We have to look at it. Let's say, now granted, the most relatable thing for the bulk of you is cold calling. Cold call. Nice and simple thing, right? This is second order consequences, what we're looking at here, right? So I am taking the pain of doing cold calling, right? And then we're going to, just before we go into that, we're going to go into gym, right? Now, let's imagine Mehmet went to the gym. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but we're going to imagine it. Yeah.
Today.
Huh?
I literally went to the gym today.
And what are you doing right now?
I'm eating protein.
Yeah.
For
Good.
the gym. For
Good.
tomorrow.
Good. Right? Now, one consequence of him going to the gym is weight. The fat is replaced by muscle. Now, what is that going to do? Yeah, that's confidence. Confidence. Now, what does that mean? That means I won't have it all. That means he's going to stand taller, right? He's going to be more confident with women, right? Lucky for Mehmet, he wasn't in that little group chat of people in the program saying inappropriate things to each other, right? So I believe it's women. he will feel more competitive. But now, let's say Jim, he will feel healthier. He has to carry less fucking weight around him, meaning he has more energy, right? And that will go into his work. And then how's that going to play off? How that's going to play off? How's that going to play off? Right? How does one decision have that much of a shift? And then we need to look at it at pain. So we're going to do cold calling as one, and then we're going to do a difficult conversation, right? Or difficult decision. Just someone remind me what the fuck that means. Difficult conversation, difficult decision, right? Cold calling. You've been able to sit down for 8 hours and just work, right? One benefit is you've got more sales potential, right? More people that you speak to. But another thing is you're now training your brain to be able to sit down and do one boring fucking task for a very long period of time, where you want to quit, you want to stop, but you keep calling and you keep going. So you're training a lot of your brain to be able to do this type of shit. Now, cold calling is one of the most extreme things, right? But if you can do it in cold calling, you can do it when reading a book. You can do it when doing other tasks, because it's something that you've been able to train where you sit down and just do that. So just by doing cold calling, all other tasks now become a lot easier to you. Yeah. So let's just say tasks, right? So that's developed. The next aspect over here is so next aspect is rejection. Now, I don't know about you guys. I've been talking on a cold call to go suck a dick. Go fuck myself. Go get a job. So on and so forth, so on and so forth. I've been abused on cold calls. What that means is my brain has now, like, it's received so much rejection, and also on sales calls, so much rejection coming to me that the power of the rejection is basically nothing, right? Because the pain is distributed throughout everything. So what I think to be something really harsh isn't harsh at all. A very simple way to explain it is the first time you get, okay, that's a bit extreme. As a child, when you fell over and hit your knee, right? It hurt. You probably cried. People like Mehmet cried a little bit more than others, right? But then as you fell more and more and more, you got used to it and you got back up. There may have been a time that you were sprinting and you really fell, but you didn't cry, but you were in a lot of pain. Right? People like Kevin, they still cry, but you know, it's better than what it was before. The more you do something, the less of an effect it has, right? But this happens to both parts of the brain. Happens with rejection and happens with pleasure, right? Now let's imagine Kevin's been able to date a model through miracle. She's slightly impaired, doesn't have good eyesight. Kevin's dating a model. How excited is he for the fact that he's dated a model? Kevin, how excited would you be? But this is a model to my standard, not a model to your standard.
I'd say I'd be excited.
Cool. Let's say you've now figured out models and you've dated 100 models. Doesn't matter to you dating a model.
Not really.
Same thing with 10K. Once you've made 10K more than enough, it doesn't mean anything, right? So anything done to an extreme diminishes all of it, right? Unless there's consistent growth, it means nothing, right? So your point of rejection is much stronger. Now, how much of an impact will that have on your life if you do not give a fuck about rejection because you've been rejected on repeat? When someone says no to you, how much more comfortable are you handling that no or just moving forward? Someone who's never heard a no thinks, oh, business isn't for me, or life isn't for me, or whatever it's going to be, right? This applies to everything. This applies to friends, social, dating, right? I'm so good with rejection, right? There was this one club, this is a very long time ago, back in the dog days, right? Where in order to go to the dance floor, you had to pass the bar, and there's just like a small gap, right? And my genius brain figured, that's the point. That's where I need to be. I stood at the corner of that bar, and I just stood there and said, hi, hi, hi. I got no, fuck off, ignored, boom, boom, just on repeat. That happened for a few minutes. And then all of a sudden, hi, hey, we're in. Wonderful, right? But now, how many people can actually do that? Now, granted, I don't recommend doing that per se, but then how many of you guys think that you can just be consistently rejected like that? People seeing the stupidity of what you were doing, right? But still carrying on doing it, not giving a shit. Yeah. How much better will your life be when you don't care about when someone says no, because you know that there's a yes around the corner. Whenever I'm starting a method of outreach, what I look for is a no. Because as soon as someone says no, I'm like, cool, someone can say yes. Like, it's the first thing I look for when doing outreach. Are people responding? Do they understand the message? And I just need one no in order to validate that this works, right? So how many of you guys have looked at cold calling like that?
Here.
Damn, have you?
Yeah.
Good German. You're German, no?
Genau.
The Germans.
Deutsch.
Oh no, yeah, you're justice people. You're the ones who did the apartheid.
The what?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Terrible people. So,
Well-
but now that's how you guys have to look at it, right? I'm not doing cold calling just for the sake of cold calling. I'm going to sit my ass down and develop all of my skills, build up all of this, right? Now, on another note, right? How many people here need to have a difficult discussion with family members where they tell them to go fuck themselves, whether it's family members, friends, in a relationship?
Yeah, here.
Yep. What is the effect of that difficult conversation? Firstly, on how you see yourself when it comes to difficult conversations. Secondly, when there's an adaptation to your environment, right? When things actually change. How many things universally just have a knock-on effect? How many things then change? Right? And granted, I don't want to say look at this like a game, but so much of the world is pure theory based. Right? I can be in a circumstance and just run maths and be like, with all of this happening, yeah, that's based on people around me, different circumstances, the likely changes that are going to happen. What I'm doing now means that in the future, right? Or something around that area. And I'll say that to people around me, and more often than not, I'll be right. I call it maths, right? Based on my maths, I don't know what the maths is, but my brain is telling me based on all the variables that are changing, that's what's going to happen, simply because we're all just fucking retarded humans, and it's impressive, right? We're not that different from each other. So you can look at a decision that you make, and you can look at how it's going to affect those around you, and based on their behaviors and how that would affect them, like it's a knock-on effect, and it's relatively easy to see once you know what you're looking for. But in order to do that, you have to sit down and analyze, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? What are people doing? Why are they doing it? What are the consequences? So on and so forth, right? And when you start looking at this, that's when you can come to, that's how you can then figure out this, where I'm not going to pay James this much because it's not good for James, right? It would be much better for James to be making 2K, develop the skills, understand, and then only after a few months, add a bonus. Because after those first few months, he would have got acclimatized to all the work, and the chances of him fucking himself over is much lower. Does that make sense? Right? I've got a team member coming in, right? She's very competent, not super experienced, very money driven, right? I'm not offering her anything until she's in the role. She's comfortable. Yes? Because if I offer her stuff, I know she's going to sit down at home, think, oh, and this, and this, and this, and that, and this. And then she might tell other people, and telling other people is the death of anything. Right? So you have to be very careful and always look at what I call universal shifts. Right? And then while we're all very similar, different people are like predisposed to different pains. Right? So you have to look at it. What pain do I need to deal with? And how will that change my life? Right? JT, do you give a little bit less of a shit about your decisions now that you're bald? Or what other people think about your decisions?
Yeah, I realize other people don't care as much about my appearance as I thought. It's not that big a deal at all.
Okay. No. JT, they couldn't give a fuck, right? Now, guys, I call this a gym paradox. Some of you would have figured it out. Some of you wouldn't have. Now, Mehmet, I know you're new at the gym, so just like work with us for a second, right? The rest of us, I believe, have gone to the gym every once in a while. So there's a thing I call the gym paradox, which is a really strange thing, where you check to see if other people are looking at you, because other people are looking at you, but they're not. They're looking to see if you're looking at them. Right? So when you go to the gym, you think people are looking at you, but no one's looking at you. They're just also dumb and they think you're looking at them. So there's this consistent boom, boom, boom. And it's not that people are looking at you, they're looking to see if you're looking at them. Right? Now, Kevin, do you give a fuck about anyone on this call? Bar you, myself, and Jess?
Not really.
And you don't really care about Jess, do you?
No,
Do you care about me?
I guess.
Very homosexual. So
Okay. Well,
yeah, you aren't gonna win that one anyway. So if none of you guys, like all of you innately know that you don't give a shit about the other people on this call. Like you just don't. So why do you care if other people review their calls? Right? Kevin, have you ever spent your day thinking about someone else's sales call review? And
probably if they close.
no. And who they are as an individual because of it. Not the analysis, but on that person.
No,
Okay,
maybe Ethan.
okay. Let's say JT. You've watched JT's sales call. Are you thinking much about JT?
Not really.
Your life carries on, right?
Yeah.
But then many of you guys have share your sales calls because you think other people give a fuck. But the truth of the matter is they really, really don't. Right? I'll give an example. I've got good cars, God bless. Right? As soon as I got the first one, I understood no one cares about me. They just literally, when they see a nice car, they don't think, oh, who's that guy? Oh, he must be a special guy with, above average, right? They are thinking, oh, I'm imagining myself in that car, right? Have any of you guys seen a very nice car? And ladies, seen a nice car and you thought, I'd look good in that, and then imagined yourselves in it?
Yeah.
Right? That's what happens because people are innately selfish, and you have to get that, and you have to see how does that play into it, right? And you have to look at everything from a different lens. And a good way to say it is you have to think consciously, right? You have to enter a different state where you're able to view yourself and your actions and what they mean, and then operate consciously, where you are consciously understanding what this pain does for you, right? And how it impacts you and how that impacts those around you, so on and so forth. And then by just fucking common sense, coming to the conclusion, cool, if I do this, my life will get better. It won't be easy, it won't be nice, but my life will get better. Right? And the more you do this, the more you can help other people. Right? I've done this to shit. I've looked. Now, granted, there's still many things I need to fix. There's one topic of my life I really need to work on it. But for a lot of the topics of my life, I've generally gone deep. And what that means is I can look at other people and think, cool, I know what your issues are. Right? Realistically, for 80% of you on this call, I need to ask you about 10 questions. I borderline know everything about you. Why? Because you are predictable to shit. You are not special. There's not much different about you. And you're not even aware of yourself. You don't know why you don't do this or why you don't do that or why you're scared of this, but it's fucking obvious. Right? Because as an example, let's use Mehmet as an example, right? Now, Mehmet obviously is the #1 womanizer on this call, but let's imagine that he wasn't, right? Let's imagine he's scared of women. Just as an example, because many guys have fear of women for some reason, right? There will be 3 likely outcomes on why he's scared of women, right? Now, I'm just going to use 3 examples just for the sake of this, right? So one would be mother. Another would be self image. Another one will be trauma. Trauma from an ex. Right? I have to ask borderline 2 questions, and I'll know which one of these 3 it is, right? I'll be able to narrow it down relatively quickly. Then moving past that, let's say we go down the route of trauma. Now, there's different types of trauma they can have. What are the 3 most likely types of trauma that he can have based on just general population experiences, right? Like, I'm not saying like his woman fell off of a building, because, you know, that's just a little bit different. I'm just going to assume it's the average, right? Ask a few questions, boom, right? Go a little bit further, a little bit further. But now, while I'm asking all of these questions, nice and simple, I'm not telling him about the trauma. I'm not telling him that I figured out this. I'm not telling him that I figured out that, right? And then all of a sudden, I know where his problems come from. And he most likely doesn't know where his problems come from. But then another thing that we work on a lot to control in this program is tonality, right? There was one girl I met at the airport, and we didn't know each other too well. It took me 1 minute to figure out that her parents were divorced, right? That she had a strained relationship with her father and she was closer with her mother, but didn't appreciate that fact, right? It was all based on her tonality, specific when she said he, she, and there was like one other word, right? It took her like 4 days to let me know that her parents are divorced or some shit, right? It took me a matter of a few minutes upon arrival at the airport. Yeah, all based on tonality, because people they show a lot more cards than what they think they show, right? And now you have to look at yourself, yeah, because a lot of this is uncontrolled due to the fact that people are too scared to look at their own fucking pain, right? So you have to look at this over here and think to yourself, what am I fucking showing, right? Because realistically, I could meet all of you and read you like a fucking book. And because I can read you like a book, means I can like basically guide you in whatever direction I want. Because all I have to do is phrase a sentence in the way that I know that you want to hear it. And you will do, I don't want to say do my bidding, but you will basically say, okay, that sounds like a good plan. Right?
How do you do that?
Huh?
How have you developed that?
The first thing you need to do is look at yourself. And the best way to do that is look at your pain, because you are most likely controlled by all of your pains. Right? Even a search for pleasure or going down the route of pleasure is most likely a coping mechanism for pain.
And how do you do that?
Huh?
How do you like look at your pain, you know?
Not easy.
So that
Right?
again?
Not easy. At this point, 1 second. Cara, you have a psychology degree, right?
Yeah, I do.
So Cara will know if I'm talking shit on any of this, because I don't have a psychology degree, but this is just my synopsis. But Mehmet, if you want to throw that question at Cara, how can Mehmet look into himself, but like deeper and like 2 layers deep?
That's a tough question because it depends on your personality type. But if you are generally like withdrawn, if you are more of an introvert, then you are generally better at spending time with yourself, but it depends what you do with that time. So what a lot of people do recommend is if you have I mean, it doesn't really work for me, to be honest. Like, I don't really enjoy journaling or writing down my feelings. It's just more of one of those things where you just kind of have to feel it. But to channel self-awareness and understand who you are and why you are the way that you are and the pain that you feel, you need to ask yourself the difficult questions. And those difficult questions are mostly with regards to what makes me sore. And I know that sounds like a really broad question, but it's like, when I cry, sorry?
Can I rephrase, and can I just add what makes me trigger? What triggers you?
What makes me trigger? Yeah, basically. So when I cry, why do I cry? What makes me cry the most? And I mean, we all cry. Let's just be honest. Like, every single person in this room cries. Ishmael, I know that you cry.
No, I nearly cried recently. Like I could feel the tears coming through, but they didn't come through.
What if you don't cry?
I know that you've cried. Every single person in this room right now has cried. And you need to ask yourself,
what if you don't, though?
For that. Sorry.
What if you don't cry though? Like, what if you like? I don't
If you
know.
don't cry, you're doing
use
something
it as
wrong.
like fuel.
That
I
means
I
that you're
don't care.
not
Obviously,
feeling your
like
pain.
someone.
Well,
Go
okay.
on.
If you don't feel your pain, you don't cry.
Yeah.
If you feel your pain and you understand where that pain is coming from, even if you don't understand where the pain is coming from, like if you feel that pain, you cry.
Yeah,
And that's how you know that you are processing your emotion.
the
If you're
bulk
bottling up your emotion, you're not self-aware.
the bulk of the people put on this call, the bulk of the people will put their problems in a box and leave it in the box.
I think majority of the population does anyway. And if I may, I think it's especially men, because men are taught to be stronger. Men are taught to be, you know, to hide that pain. But I think what's really important is to understand what makes you tick, what makes you trigger. Means letting yourself cry. It means letting yourself, sorry, I see my internet is unstable.
Conclusion: don't cry. It's weak. Yep. I'm gonna mute her until she like back normally.
Yeah. Ultimately.
So I muted you because you were like chittering. So don't cry. It's a sign of weakness. Stay strong, right? But it's if you can
That's
cry.
not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is cry because it's a sign of strength and it makes you strong.
Yes, I think it's the internet. So, gentlemen, don't
I
cry.
disagree with that.
Yeah. If you want to cry, cry alone in a room, right? So or cry to like one thing I recommend is cry to a living tree. So go to a living tree and cry to it. Yeah, that's as far as the crying should go. Highly recommend living tree. Nothing past that.
Hey, don't kill me.
Yeah, don't speak to a human, right? But it's figuring out what triggers you, right? When you get angry at a certain person, why do you get angry? A good way to explain this is family, right? Now, can we all agree family fucks you off at like much greater speeds than other people,
Yeah.
right? Why?
And
You have to sit down and question why the fuck does that happen? They're just human beings with opinions. It's because I've got a whole built up thing of the experiences that I have that make it much stronger when something happens because I'm bringing up shit from the past. But then the question is, why are you bringing up stuff from the past? Why are you the type of person that does that? What does it mean or what does it show, so on and so forth, right? But it's looking at all your interactions. If you get nervous, why do you get nervous? And now, granted, this is my theory. It all typically comes back to one decision that you made, right? There'll be one decision that you made a very long time ago where you decided not to do something or to do something or something happened, which resulted in a good chunk of your personality forming, right? An example of how I attempt to control this. If I'm about to do something new, I have the option. I'm going to be bad. I'm going to be good. I don't know which one it's going to be. So fuck it. I'm going to assume I'm going to be good. And if I'm bad, I'm bad. But many people automatically assume that they're going to be bad at something, whether it's learning. Like how many people here, how many of you guys say to yourselves, I'm not good at learning languages? Anyone here? Okay, Kara. You're going to be my point of attack. I apologize. Kara, you say that you're bad at learning languages. You do know it's just a sound to identify something. It's not like it's nothing else to it. Whether it's English, Chinese, Japanese, or Russian, it's a sound that your mouth makes.
Yes.
So what's the difference of to speak and говорить, which is to speak in Russian? I don't know. Wi-Fi issues. Are you back? No, I don't know if she's back.
I have no answer.
Okay, go back to the mute thing. Wonderful. Okay, cool. So fundamentally, it's more often than not, it's just how you see things. If you think to yourself for a second, I am bad at one thing, you've got something wrong in your head. because there's nothing to say that you're bad at something. You may not be experienced, but it doesn't make you bad at it. Right? A lot of it is you lying to yourselves, saying, I can do this or I can't do this. It's a decision that you make in the moment and you decide through action. Now, for the bulk, like granted, I'd say men and women are different to this. Now, granted, I don't know to what extent, I could be wrong, but when it comes to men, right? Maya, tell me if you're also on this side or the other side. I'm unsure. I can only speak because I'm a man.
Tell me.
99% of you guys will only be able to change who you are through action. Like, that's it. You cannot tell yourselves that you are glorious or something or blah, blah, blah. You cannot lie to yourselves, right? You can't say, I'm good at something or I'm bad at something or I am this type of person, right? Many of you guys would believe yourselves to be the individuals who, if your woman was in danger, you would stand up for, right? But now I'll ask you this. Where have you shown yourself that you are the type of person to do that? Because in the circumstances, you will react with fight or flight. Nothing else. There is danger in front of you. You will be fight or flight. You're either going to fight it or your bitch ass is going to run away. Now, my question to you is, if you have not trained yourself for fight or flight in order to fight or be accustomed to it, guess what you're going to do? Yes, you're going to be those people on those videos who either hold their lady in front of them as they run away, right? Or just run away. Yeah. But then the only way that you can do that is through action, deciding who you are going to be. And it's typically in a moment, in a day, whatever it's going to be. But it has such a big impact on your life, right? I'll give an example of a guy I know, successful, like solidly successful, in the top, I would say top 5% of his age bracket, right? And we were discussing women. Yeah, everything else is a tick. He doesn't speak to women. Not a big fan of it. Don't know why. And I said to him, nice and simple. How much of an impact will your wife have in your life, whoever your wife is going to be? He said, a massive impact. So you're going to sleep with her every night, right? Yes. You're going to have kids with her. Yes. Now, if you are unable to speak with women, how many women are going to come up and speak with you? Not many. So how many options are you going to have when it comes to selecting a wife? He said, many. And I said, you're going to be left with the ones that nobody wants, right? I said, probably. Do you want that? No. What is the solution? Right? Because like it's the decisions that you make that will they decide everything else in the future. And then we come back to pain over here, right? And we come back all the way to the difference between a version of you that is doing all of this, maximizing the training, losing hours, losing sleep, so on and so forth, right? Cold calling, PPG, not reviewing sales calls. Those two versions of yourselves are completely different, and you guys need to understand that, right? And you need to decide, who are you for yourselves, for your family right now, for your future family to come? What example are you setting? And it's very embarrassing for you guys to say, oh, I know I could have been more, but I decided not to because, you know, I was scared of the judgment of other people, right? Like, you guys have to, there's two ways to look at it, right? And they're both regarding children. The first one is you have to look at the child version of you, right? What did they expect from you today? How did they expect you to be, right? How did you see yourself? How did you see yourselves going through your journey? What did you expect of yourselves, right? And would that version, or not that version, you when you were younger, would they look at you and think, yeah, everything was worth it? Or would they be like, oh, okay, that's a bit shit, right? And I'll try and find something. It's a great example. So over here, and then I'll give the other example, cartoon. see if I can find this. No, I can't find it. If I find it, I want to see a video, isn't it? Give me 2 seconds. And then the next question that you need to ask yourselves, and then we'll get into questions, is how do you want your son or daughter to see you? Right? And what version are you going to become? And do you want to be the version that says, oh, I was just a bit too lazy. I didn't try as hard as what I could have. It was a bit too scary. I couldn't sit down in front of a computer long enough. And that's why we don't have A, B, C, or D. Right? Yeah, I can't find this. It was a very cool video. If I find it, I'll find it. So let's just do some questions. Tama.
Yeah. Got a question on you said that basically we should work our butts off, right? And skip sleep and skip eating. And
No.
my question is,
I am genetically superior to all of you. My
yeah, that's
ancestors
bullshit.
are the reason. No. Generally, my ancestors are the reason that your children will not see the woolly mammoth or the saber-toothed tiger. That's my line. Yeah, built different. Now, I'm not recommending you go too extreme because it has negative health like consequences, right? Look, for some reason, I don't need sunlight. I can operate weeks without sunlight. I don't need much food, but that's not you. Push yourself to your max, but don't compare it to my max because it can be further, likely not, right? Or it can be a little bit lower. But the last thing you want to do is put you like, oh, there's a certain point of diminishing returns, and you don't want to go to the point of diminishing returns. Make sense?
Yeah, but like, I mean, but makes a it. I didn't want to say but it's like, doesn't a good body and a healthy mind, isn't it the same thing? Like if you have a good body, you have a healthy mind, right? And taking care of yourself and doing sport and sleeping enough, isn't that correlated to the success that we want to achieve?
No. Everyone else would say yes, but it's no, because none of this is that fucking difficult. You're hopping onto calls with human beings and proposing your business to them. You're having a conversation, right? You're sitting down and sending fucking emails. You're sitting down,
Yeah.
calling people.
Yeah,
Like,
for this example, yeah. But I'm talking about, this is just like for some people on this call, including me, this is just a step to the bigger goal, right? And
yes.
for achieving being an entrepreneur and successful entrepreneur and building companies, etc., isn't this just like, don't you have to take care of yourself in that way just to become more successful?
You don't because of your age, right? Like, realistically, none of you guys have responsibilities. Wait, who here has a child on this call that they know about? None of you. Who here, like, cool, some of you might be in relationships, but in terms of the big picture, no one has to put anyone through fucking education. No one has to pay for fucking diapers. 95% of you don't have to pay bills, right? So, destroy your bodies, destroy your minds, burn out. Your body is built for it, right? This is what's crazy. So, in Dubai, you get slaves. Right? Now, they're technically not slaves, but fuck me, do they make no money? And they work non-stop, right? But they work in the Dubai heat. Yes? You guys could not handle the Dubai heat, tanning on a bed. Generally, tanning on a bed. You guys would suffer, right? Some of you know Polski, right? I was there enjoying the sun, right? Like, wow, what a beautiful day. And he had a heat stroke. Right? He generally had a heat stroke. He was out of actions for 2 to 3 days because it was too hot. Yes. While he's having a bitch ass heat stroke, there are people in the heat building the motorway. Yes, there are people building houses for 12 hours of the fucking day while their families are back home. So they're there with no wife or kids for 6 months of the year or 9 months of the year, slaving away every day nonstop for no money. Right? And Tama, you're saying, I need very good sleep in order to maximize my cold calling and my capacity on the sales call. But other humans are able to do a lot more, right? physical labor, intense, non-stop, and they don't get much food. I went to their restaurants, like, because I like Pakistani food, right? These guys at lunchtime, they have one samosa. That's their lunch because they don't have money for anything else. So if they're able to build houses on a samosa and a little bit of food afterwards with lack of sleep, lack of nutrition, terrible living conditions, right? I have a gut feeling you can push yourself, lose a little bit of sleep, and be okay at your age. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Wouldn't you respect me more if I was being jacked and well trained?
No.
On a sales call, like talking and on sales, like let's speak like the average person, right?
Mm.
Wouldn't they respect you more on their appearance?
Zach, what is that? Zach's jacked, right?
I know.
Yeah. I have a
Yeah.
lot of respect for Zach. Zach is good at sales. I'm better at sales. Yeah. And well, my size has nothing to do with it. You really think people
No,
look...
but
No. This is where you fucked up, right?
That's
Everyone's...
how you respect yourself. If you respect yourself, then people are going to respect you. If you don't respect yourself, people are not going to respect you.
And this is why...
no, it's not.
No.
Not like I have an ego
No.
problem with that. Just on the general.
Shut. Yeah. This is why I think you are a drag queen in the evening. That was such a drag queen statement. You got to respect yourself for people to respect you. Mehmet.
No, like if you don't respect yourself and you think like you're a piece of shit, innit? No one's like, people are gonna think you're a piece of shit as well.
We're not talking about that.
But you're gonna
It's
respect
not about
yourself
people respecting if
more.
you're jacked and stuff. Is that how you view yourself?
There we go. He said it. He said terribly, right? Okay, put it like this, right? Your point is people will respect the fact that you go to the gym and you take care of yourself. So clearly you're a serious businessman.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I won't sleep for 2 days for shits and giggles just to get work done. I won't eat for 2 days and I'm still able to function at a much higher point. Right? Which one do you think is going to come across more in a sales call? Now, at no point, all of you guys go to the gym, have your 3 meals a day. It's very important for some reason, right? I'm not saying go extreme, go unhealthy, right? But believe it or not, at no point have I ever thought, wow, that man's really fit, right? Let me pay him money. Now, on the other extreme, if someone is really disgusting and is clearly not taking care of themselves and they do not come across as competent, right? I won't pay them a penny. And the fact that they're like obese definitely plays a part into it, right? But it capitalizes. But then there's another example. There was one guy, it was for a sales thing. He wanted, I was looking to hire him and he was chubby. He was wearing a vest. He was smoking cigarettes on the call. That instant, in the beginning of the call, I said, I'm not working with you until we started speaking. And I thought, lots of red flags. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing, right? And he was just very laissez-faire, chill doing it. Yes. Keep your fitness up because realistically, it's a big aspect to you. And that's how you see yourself. More importantly, you think people give a shit. So based on that, yes, keep it up because if you let it fall down, right, it will affect you. But it's much more of a self-belief than anything else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Right? Now, I encourage all of you, right, to be the best versions of whatever the fuck you want to become, right? But I did a lot of maths a long time ago, right? And I thought, what's more valuable? An Ismael Aziz with fuck money or an Ismael Aziz with a really good body? Which one do people value more? And I was like, no gym for me. I'll gym once it's all done. It'll take me about 6 fucking months. Right? Oh, is he waiting alone? Oh, such a shame. Someone send Ethan this link, please. All right. But like, it's the truth. And many people get very confused, like, oh yeah, if I'm going to adjust my offer by this, people are going to buy it. No, people are going to buy it based on how they see you. You can have a relatively shit offer that doesn't make much money, right? Lots of businesses operate that way, where there isn't much of a margin left for the other person, but you know that you're going to get your margin, or at the very least, you believe at a high level that you will, right? But now, let me just move over to questions, or else Ethan's going to get upset. Dennis.
I wanted to ask what role beliefs play in everything that you mentioned in this.
So I need to be very careful with this because I think they don't apply, but they do, right? So you have to understand that everyone is very different. Like, God bless, I look in the mirror and I'm very happy. I'm more happy than what I should be. I honestly believe I think I'm taller than what I am. I think I'm better looking than what I am. I think I'm more competent than what I am. I think I'm stronger than what I am, so on and so forth. Right? I'll look in the mirror and it'll make me feel better. Right? Like, I am very thin right now. I look in the mirror and I'm like, "Yeah, that's a good ass body."
You know who you look like right now? Just came out of my head. Daniel Dubois.
Mehmet, Ethan's waiting, please. Go on. Yeah, keep him company. Thank you. But then if you have negative thoughts, right, then that's going to play way more of a role and you need to fix your beliefs. Right? Okay, let me structure it a little bit different. Let me put old me and new me, right? Old me was a lot more insecure. Old me didn't think I knew how to make money. Old me genuinely believed that the universe had it out for me, that I wasn't going to make money. And I had to show myself through repeat and receive the receival of positive reinforcement through my actions as I got better and as I got better and as I got better. I was able to enter the land of delusion in cuckoo land. Right? But then it's through actions, not belief.
Okay, so, and you mean, because I know Charlie referred to that you can basically delusion yourself if you will just repeat some things, because, for example, if you believe outreach sucks, and then you will say outreach is good, your mind is looking to, yeah, okay. And then you book a call and you're like, yeah, I knew it, that outreach is good.
It's a stretch. What I assume Charlie's talking about is limiting beliefs. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing is you will only really ever change through positive reinforcement, and that's through action. Right? Because if you believe too much, you end up being like one of those really ugly people who says, I'm a 10 because I feel like a 10 when you know. Right? Like, you don't want to go to that level of retardation. Like, I've met entrepreneurs and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna great one. Yeah. That's retard that I was speaking to. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna beat Iman Kotz. Yeah, I'm gonna beat him. I'm gonna be way better than him. And I said to him, bro, like, he doesn't know who the fuck you are. Second to that, he couldn't give a fuck about who you are. Third to that, you're never going to beat him because of the way that you think. Right? So you need to make sure you don't enter that domain, because like that type of domain is just, you are hating on somebody else to fuel, like you're creating an imaginary war, which defeats the purpose and isn't the truth to why you were doing what you were doing. It was most likely because he was a skinny, insecure, ugly piece of shit. Right? But he decided to blame Iman Ghatzi for all of that and just go to war with him. And I'm confident, this was years ago I spoke to him, I'm very confident Iman Ghatzi still doesn't know his name. Yeah, very confident. Yeah. Tamo was admiring your muscles.
Oh, Timo, don't be gay. Get back to work.
Yep. Davide.
Yeah, so you said that, I mean, when you said before that should I prefer to be rich or to be jacked? Like, does one thing exclude the other? Like, why can't we do both?
No. Do both. Be my guest. I did my maths. I was like, I have to go to the gym 2 hours a day, right? All in all, 2 hours with showering, getting ready. 2 times 5 is 10 times 4. Shit. In 1 month, that's a working week that I've put to the fucking gym. Right? Cool. No, thank you. Let me maximize all my energy points into work. And then when I'm done, let me spend 6 months in the gym. Good. And it's as though I've always been big. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it's so much work. It's so difficult. Right? Not difficult, but it's just so much pain and like heavy lifting that you have to do that I decided, fuck the gym. Based on what I want to do, I don't have time for it. Right?
Yeah.
It's your own prerogative. If you want to, if it affects your mindset, go for it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Granted, like, look at this. I thought I was very retarded back. I generally thought I was very stupid. And I had one simple thing that kept me going. You may be smarter than me. You may be better than me. You may have all the advantages over me. You will not outwork me.
No.
Yes, and through sheer outworking, I will beat you. Muted. It makes sense,
Okay.
but that was my decision. I don't recommend people live like me because, like, Zach, could you operate on my diet and my sleep?
What the hell?
Yeah.
My muscles would disappear. My mind would be fucked. Absolutely not.
So don't recommend it. Everyone else has their own balance and their own way of them doing it. If you go to the gym and that's the best version of you that allows you to excel, go for it. Yeah. I'm just in a good position where if I'm anorexic, I still think I've got loads of muscles. You know, it's kind of like a win-win for me. But then that may not be a win-win for you. Yeah, wonderful.
And then another thing related to that, like I'm already working a lot, of course. It's just like sometimes it's not just me, but like sometimes like my question is like when you're like an average person, you want to get rich, you want to have these things, but at the same time, it's not a situation that you kind of have to do it or you are under a bridge because you have comfort. Like
Yes,
I want to do
leave
it.
your comfort. No, leave your comfort. Stop being a bitch. Leave your comfort. Leave your comfort. Stop being a bitch.
All right, so let's say I'm living with my parents, so
Leave.
of course
Leave. Leave.
What, my house?
Yes.
I don't have money.
Go get a job and leave. Put yourself in a position that you do not like. Put a fire under your ass and get to work.
Right, but is that necessary?
Yes. Because you know you're not working as hard as what you could be, right?
I mean,
okay, ages ago, right? This was back in Ismael at 10K, right? I had pamoosed a system that made me free money. I was like, got in a deal, free money, right? And for the longest time, I'm like, that money that's coming in is making me lazy. Because that money is just covering all of my bases, and I know I'm not working, right? So I took myself out of that deal. It took many months for me to get myself to do it because it was a big risk because I've got free money coming in, right? I cut that completely, right? And as soon as I cut it, I was like, fuck, I have to get to work. Don't have that anymore. And all of a sudden, I worked a lot harder, right? Now, I don't want to, I recognize that as I say this to you, I'm telling you to do something very extreme. But I'll ask you this, Davide, the Italian, what would the best version of you do? Would he stay at home, comfortable, or would he fuck off and get to work?
yeah, that's a good question because I mean, it's not that I'm comfortable. Like my life right now is gym, university, and cold calls all day. Like I do cold calls and do that stuff. So I'm already working. I don't know if just putting myself in complete shit without a house would actually help me do more.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Right? Because when it's fight or flight, it's natural, right? If you were part of an expedition to learn how to survive in the jungle, right? And there's other people around you, you'll figure it out. You'll do everything, but you won't be honed in. If I chucked your ass in the middle of the Amazon, Davide, you would learn so many things so quickly, so many skills so quickly. You'd build a fucking tent within a day, and you'd protect the tent, and you'd so on and so forth, because you've got a whole different drive around you, right? And you don't have that which was before, or the environment that you had previously, that disappears, allowing you to create your own new environment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it just feels like very weird to actually conceive it in the real world. Like maybe in theory, but it's kind of like
yes, but
I'm
that's
in a normal situation, everything is fine, and I should say tomorrow out of nowhere, fuck you, parents, I gotta go, and fuck you, university.
No. But then, okay, here we go. This will touch on my point. Granted, I'm really burning Ethan's call. This should touch on my point on what I said previously about knowing how to speak to people. You don't say, fuck you, parents. You say, thank you, parents, because you've inspired me. I've been really scared, but I've seen everything that you've been able to do. And I know that because of what you've taught me, I am able to do it. You guys are my inspiration, and I really, you make them feel good about themselves. They're like, wow, this is the son that we've raised. And yes, he's right. We're great. He's great. He's going to fuck off on his own. Yes, we'll have his support, but we won't tell him that, so on and so forth. Right? How you paint the picture is like that decides basically everything. right? So say it in the right way and go do it and do it for yourself.
So you're saying that I should move out.
Okay, question of the day. What would you advise your son to do if you want your son to be the best version of himself?
My son, like in my situation.
Your son. Would you tell him stay at home or would you say fuck off?
You said my son?
Your son, yes.
I would not give him money. I would not give him comfort. And yes, that's true. And I mean, that's what I'm doing, kind of. I mean, I have a house, but that's not really like comfort. It's just like,
you know what the answer is. You'd kick him out and you'd say, fuck off and go build.
I don't know. I mean, if I fuck off, first of all, I don't know where to go.
Figure it out.
And second, I can survive for half a month probably.
And get a job.
And so yes, fight or flight, but I get a job like at McDonald's.
Good.
And
how long do you think you're gonna want to be at McDonald's?
Not much, right?
There we go. And what is that gonna do?
All right.
There we
But
go.
it's kind of like weird because I have already everything planned. Like university just started. It would be like crazy. People would think that I went mad, probably.
Welcome to entrepreneurship, right? And there's
They're
a
right, but they already think I'm mad. Like my parents already think I'm weird and everything. Like
there we go. But if they don't think you're crazy, you're doing something fucking wrong.
they do it already, but at the same time, I have a house.
But look, you know, the choice is yours. You can enjoy your house. I'm sure it's very nice with Italian things inside. JT.
Oh, great. Ishmael, in the past, have you ever, let's say, jump into a new project, everything's really exciting, full of energy, even difficult things seems easy, just do it. And then after a couple of months, losing that excitement and energy, like how to maintain that level of energy?
No, because what I had done, I'd figured this out in school, like ages in school. I was like, hold on. So it was a new term, right? And when you go to school, you have all like it's a new term, new year. And I think everyone here can relate. You've got your new pencil case, you've got your new pens, you've got your new fucking notepad. You're like, I'm going to write really well in this notepad. My handwriting is going to be perfect throughout all of it. You've got your, like, everything's good, right? And then you crash. I kept seeing this. And then there is the start of one semester or year, I don't fucking know, right? And I was looking at everyone, I'm like, everyone's really prepared. None of these fuckers are going to, they're not going to take it seriously in 3 months, but they all think they are. What's happening here? Then in that moment, I said, I'm going to test the fucking theory. I am going to operate at 60 to 80%. I will not go lower. I will not go higher. I will never really try, and I will never really be lazy. I will just operate at this level, right? And just skirt through it. And because I did that, I was able to do that consistently, right? Because like you're going to burn out. So I learned, cool. Operate at the same amount and do it nonstop. Figure out your balance of how far you can push yourself and knock it the fuck down, because consistency is what's important, right? Because there's no point in going up, down, up, down, up, down. You're just going to fuck with your own emotions. Yes, and you're going to think, oh, I can't do this. I can't do that. One thing you guys have to recognize is I can likely operate for longer, not all of you, but the bulk of you, I can operate at higher levels for much longer than the bulk of you, because I've trained that in myself. Right? An example would be fucking Rajan and his fucking walk from the top of Europe to the bottom of Europe. Yes, Rajan, did you train for that walk?
Yeah, I trained a little bit, but not too much because like the walk, I was training while I was going.
No, you walked all of Europe. All of Europe? You know, you just walk from the top to the bottom. No, sounds miserable. No clue why. But then if I were to do that, fuck, screwed, my legs are broken. I'm regretting it within like the first few hours, and I'm not going to do the whole fucking walk. Right? You guys have to build it up, but you build it up correctly. You don't go 110% and just fucking do 110% forever, because it's not sustainable. You have to keep the ball rolling. The longer you go, the more you know, the more experience, it stacks up on itself. And all of a sudden, when it rains, it pours. You know, money. Because you've been able to figure out all of the pieces. But in order to do that, you have to be able to eat the most shit for the longest time. It's for the longest time. Entrepreneurship is for those who last the race. Right? I am expecting myself to go bankrupt approximately 2 to 3 times. I am prepared for it. I've always been prepared for it because where I want to reach, bankruptcy hits you. Right? So I'm comfortable with the fact that I will be bankrupt in the future. Right? Because it's part of the game. But for those who aren't prepared for that, and then they get bankrupt, they're going to think, I'm not going to be whatever the fuck it's going to be. Right? But it's playing the game correctly and building up and understanding that there's certain skills that you can develop that will speed up everything. Understanding that there's certain pain that you avoid or you don't deal with, or you know that you need to deal with, that if you were to deal with it, the journey will be much better, right? One big reason why I focus so much on playing this call is I recognized a very long time ago. I said, fuck, I'm carrying so much bullshit from my childhood, and I'm carrying it through with me in entrepreneurship. I'm dealing with all of, like, I've got that on my back as I'm trying to move forward. So I came to the conclusion, I have to deal with this. Now, granted, there were other things that also made me deal with it, but once I started to deal with it and the load of weight got a lot lighter, everything became 1,000 times easier because I wasn't dealing with anywhere close to the amount of pain while dealing with the pain of fucking business, right? And if you're able to release the backpack of past fucking bullshit trauma, believe it or not, the journey gets a bit easier because you're not weighted by a whole lot of dog shit, most of which is all in your head.
Okay, so it's better to do consistency than this
Yeah,
up down,
you know,
up down.
1,000,000%. Like if you're up down, you will depress yourself.
Hmm.
And it's like you're just gassing yourself out. Right?
Okay.
Like an example for me, when I go to extreme, I crash. Because believe it or not, we actually need food as humans. And like my whole body physically crashes. Like all energy reserves gone. I don't have any more fat on my body for my body to have fun with, my muscles depleted. Right? Full crash. Right? But now if I was to blame myself for that, I'd get fucking depressed. But common sense dictates I've burnt out all my resources and my body doesn't really like it. So I have to force myself to eat for a few days. Right? But it's using common sense. I then know at that point, when I eat, every time I eat, I'm going to get very tired because I'm digesting a lot of food. My body's not used to it. It's going to use extra energy. Right? And then I look at that, how that plays into the work, understand what's actually happening. Make sense?
Yeah.
And final question. Wonderful. Carolina.
Hello, Ismael. How are you?
Thriving. How you doing?
Amazing. Thank you. I'm a bit sick, but it's all good. Well, I was a little bit late to the call. I'm sorry, I didn't know it was the time was different, but so I don't know if it's more mindset or if I can ask a sales question.
Sure.
Okay. I received some messages of people saying that they want to like see my portfolio or see like how much money I spent on ad spend or things like that. How can I fight that without saying, you know, I don't have a portfolio and make it a deal breaker?
So this is when you're doing outreach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a way that people tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like it's not true. When you end up on a sales call and someone says, "Oh, can I see your website? Oh, can I see this? Can you send me this?" It's their way of saying, "I'm gonna fuck off from this call now. I don't have the courage to say I don't believe in you, right? But I'm gonna leave. You can send me your website. I might check it out. It might change my mind. Probably not." Right? The biggest reason people say that is, if anyone ever says to me, "Oh, I need to see your website," cool. They don't believe in me. I fucked up something. There's something they're not in there for. You agree? Yeah. Like all the time. Right? Now, you also have to recognize in your niche, what you are saying, it doesn't cost a lot of money. Like you're not expensive in the niche. You're like a very small negatable cost. Right? Now, if it was a massive cost that would like what, buy or die the business, right? Cool. Then that's a discussion. I need to see this. I need to say that. I need to see this. I need to say that. But now that's a simple answer. But now what would I do if, and granted, yes, this is a long time ago. What would I do if I didn't have it? Right? I would, I remember this. So I would contact every single media buyer, propose to all of them a good partnership deal, but I would need all of their work. I need all of their history. I want to analyze all of the metrics that they have. And I remember I want it in video. I wanted them to go over in video all of their shit. Were you there? No. All of their stuff, I told them, give it to me in videos. Right? Explain all of it to me. And I told them to explain it in such a way that clients would ask me those questions. Right? Then I built up a nice portfolio. I'm like, wonderful. Time to get to work. Right? Then that's a simple solution to the problem that you have. Now, is this the correct way to do business? No. But you lie to yourself. You say, I've taken all of this so that they can get work. And I'm going to use it. And then I'm going to hire them. Then you don't hire them. But you lie to yourself in order to do it. Make sense?
Yes, it does. I actually also did that in the past with another company that I had, so it doesn't seem that bad.
Perfect. But 99% of the time, it's got nothing to do with the question. It's to do with the fact that they don't trust you and they're not ready to close. And it's because you fucked up something.
And if they ask this before a call, should I just insist to get him on the call and say, I'll explain to you everything that we do on a call, or can I send this in advance to ease their mind?
No. Get them on the call.
Thank you.
Get them on the call. Yep. And honestly, you can get them on the call and like deflect their questioning so that they don't end up seeing it. Davide, I said, and the last final question, the wonderful
Where should I go?
What should you do?
Where should I go?
Renounce your citizenship. Italy is not a good place.
Right. Where should I go?
Botswana is an upgrade. Republic of Congo, South
No,
Sudan,
seriously.
Afghanistan.
Seriously.
Antarctica is also a good option.
You said to get a job there. I don't get a good job. Come on, where should I seriously go if you're serious about me saying to move out?
Glad no one heard that.
What did he say?
Send me a message.